Good morning, students. Today we will start a new lesson which is structural organization in animals. As we all know, all life forms they are made up of cell. We have discussed that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life forms. And do we know, as in the case of unicellular organisms such as amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc., they have a single cell in its body, whereas in the multicellular organisms there are millions of cells, and most of these cells they are specialized to carry out a few functions, and each specialized function is taken up by a different group of cells. So the cells they do function very efficiently. In efficient way, they are able to perform all the physiological aspects of the living being. So, the cells of the multicellular organisms, we can observe division of labor is being experienced, and cells which are specialized in one function, they are grouped to form a tissue. So we may define tissue that a group of cells which are having a similar structure and function, they have aggregated together to form the function in a much more efficient and in a fruitful way. The structure is called to be as tissue. So we have to discuss about the animal tissues. As the animal tissue is concerned, the structure of the cells vary according to their function. Therefore, the tissues they are differently and broadly classified into four types. They are of the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. So now we'll discuss about the epithelial tissue. As the word epi, it means upon, and thelio means to grow. So the epithelial tissue we may define as the tissue which covers the entire body externally as well as internally. Means it is just an covering tissue. Just do we cover our books, copies to make it protect, to make its life longer. So just do we may consider the work or the function assigned to epithelial tissue is to form an cover like covering externally, or it may be internally also. So it is a protective tissue of the animal body. For example, the skin, the lining of the mouth, the lining of the blood vessels, lungs, alveoli, and kidney tubules, they all are made up of epithelial tissue. So, as the epithelial tissue, they are having a free surface facing either a body fluid or the outside environment, and thus provides a covering or a lining for some part of the body. The cells are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. So obviously, if it is a covering tissue, it should not have such type of space or like that. So specific reason through which any such type of pathogen may enter. So the cells they are compactly packed and with having very little intercellular matrix, or that the cementing material which is present, it is present in very little amount. We have to discuss there are two types of epithelial tissues, namely simple epithelium and compound epithelium. As the word suggests, simple epithelium is composed of a single layer of cells. As do the name suggest, it is simple in nature. Means simple epithelium is composed of a single layer of cells and functions as a lining for body cavities, ducts, and tubes. So as do we may observe the structure of simple epithelium, means the layer is very much simply and it mostly forms the lining of the body cavity or within the tubes or ducts. Now, whereas the compound epithelium is concerned, as the name suggests, it is compound, means it consists of two or more cell layers and has a protective functions as it does in our skin. So, as we may observe in the diagram, the compound epithelium is concerned. Obviously, for example, in the case of skin, compound epithelium is present. It is an example of compound epithelium because skin, it is the outermost covering of our body which protects our body from different types of adverse conditions. Maybe that it inhibits the entrance of different types of pathogens surrounding us. So obviously, if the layer would be simple, then the pathogens may enter very easily through that single layer. But if the layer is, we can say, differently having different structure, we can say stratifications are there, or means multi-layered cells are placed one above the air, one above the other, then the entrance of the pathogens through this particular multi-layered cells would be impossible, and in this case our body would be on the safer side and the other physiological aspects can be fulfilled in a fruitful way. Now, on the basis of structural modifications of the cell's simple epithelium is further classified into three types, which is squamous epithelial tissue, cuboidal epithelial tissue, and columnar epithelial tissue. As do squamous epithelium, it is made up of a single thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries, thus helping in the process of diffusion. For example, they are present in the walls of blood vessels, air sacs of lungs, etc. For example, the squamous epithelial tissue, it will help in the movement of the substances across through the layer very easily through the process of diffusion. So they are present in such type of regions where diffusion process is essential. For example, the air sacs of alveolus, where there is need of the diffusion of the gases, for example carbon dioxide and oxygen. So as we may observe, this is the case of the air sac where the diffusion of the gas has to take place. So obviously, the presence of squamous epithelial tissue within the alveolar wall, it helps in the easily diffusion of the gases, the carbon dioxide and the oxygen for the proper physiological functioning of the body. Now the next is cuboidal epithelium. As from the name, the meaning, it becomes clearful that it must be cuboid in shape. It is composed of a single layer of cube-like cells which helps to fulfill secretory and absorptive role. So as we may observe, the structure of the cuboidal epithelial tissue means their function is most importantly in the part of secretion and absorption. So as they are mostly present in the ducts of glands, tubular part of nephrons where absorption has to take place, as well as the epithelium of the PCT in the case of the kidney tubules of the nephron. So these are the places where most probably cuboidal epithelial tissue is present, which helps to perform the function of absorption and secretion. Now next category, which is columnar epithelium. As the meaning is clear, means the epithelial tissue it should be in a column layer. So it is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. The nuclei are located at the base and free surfaces, they have microvilli. So as we may observe the structure of columnar epithelial tissue where the cells, they are in column shape, tall and slender in structure, and they are also mostly playing the role of secretion and absorption. They are found in the lining of the stomach and intestine, and they are concerned with the process of secretion and absorption. Now, if the columnar or cuboidal cells, they bear cilia, means hair-like structures on their free surface, then they are called as ciliated columnar or ciliated cuboidal epithelial tissue. As the function of cilia is to move particles or mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. So, as due to the presence of these hair-like structures or cilia-like structures over the columnar or the cuboidal epithelial tissue, then the cell and the tissue is called as ciliated columnar epithelial tissue, as they do the function of just like the bristles of the brushes, just do they move the substances present within the specific structure. So, for example, these types of ciliated columnar epithelial tissue, they are present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tubes. So, they also help to clean the passage, to help to move the specific type of substances present within the hollow organs, or we can say tube-like structures, to move ahead. Now, some of the columnar or cuboidal cells, they get specialized for the purpose of secretion and are called as glandular epithelium. So they are mainly of two types. Unicellular means consisting of isolated glandular cells, for example goblet cells of the alimentary canal, or it may be multicellular consisting of cluster of cells as in the case of salivary gland. So as do we may observe the presence of these goblet cells which act as a glandular epithelium, showing goblet cells present within the intestine, which helps in the function of certain secretory role. So as do we may observe the structure of multicellular glandular cell, for example, in the case of salivary glands, where the function is to secrete the saliva or salivary amylase. Now the next, on the basis of mode of pouring of the secretions, glands, they are divided into two categories, namely exocrine glands and endocrine glands. As exocrine glands are those glands which are having a simple or branched duct system to discharge their secretions at the site of its action. For example, salivary glands, tear glands, digestive glands, etc. These are such type of glands which do they have their own duct systems to discharge their secretion at the site of the action. Whereas endocrine glands are those glands which do not have ducts and they pour their secretions directly into the bloodstream to be carried to the site of action called target organs. For example, do we know there are different types of endocrine glands which do not have their own ducts and they secrete their secretions into the bloodstream. And as the blood, it is the circulating fluid within the body, it transfers, it carries the certain secretion released by those glands to the site of the action called target organs. For example, thyroid gland, pituitary gland, adrenal gland, thymus gland, etc. They are the such type of endocrine glands. Now, we'll discuss about the compound epithelium. As the name suggests, it is made up of more than one layer or multi-layered of cells, thus it has a limited role in secretion and absorption. Their main function is to provide protection against chemical and mechanical stresses. Example, moist surface of buccal cavity, dry surface of skin, etc. are the areas where such type of compound epithelial tissues are present. They are also present in the moist surface of pharynx, inner lining of ducts of salivary glands and of pancreatic ducts. So, for the common example, do we may consider The skin is an example of compound epithelium, which helps to protect our body from different or diverse types of the different entrance, we can say, can be easily prohibited by having such type of stratified epithelial tissue, which is called compound epithelium, through which the pathogens cannot enter our body through the skin. Now, all the cells in epithelium, they are held together with little intercellular material. In nearly all animal tissues, specialized junctions provide both structural and functional links between its individual cells. So, in the case of epithelial tissue, all the cells, they are held together with a little intercellular material. Just do we consider, just do the bricks, they are placed one above the other while erecting the wall with the help of cement and sand. That do we call that the, we can say, the material through which it is placed one above the other. So just like the cells, they are also held together with little intercellular material in the case of epithelial tissue. And in nearly all animal tissues, specialized junctions, they provide both structural and functional links between its individual cells. So three types of cell junctions are found in the epithelium and other tissues. These are called as tight junctions, adhering junctions, and gap junctions. As do the tight junctions, the name indicates it helps to stop the substances from leaking across a tissue. And as the name adhering suggests, means it performs a cementing material to keep the neighboring cells together. Whereas the gap junctions, they helps to facilitate the cells to communicate with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for rapid transfer of ions, small molecules, and sometimes big molecules. So, till so far here, we have discussed about the epithelial tissue. We have discussed about the different aspects. How do they help in the formation of a covering or protective layer within the internal body parts or outside the body. Till so far here, thank you. Have a nice day.